Hi, I'm Akita, and today I'm going to teach you about the subscription hustle, specifically how you can save money, time, mental bandwidth, and overwhelm using a particular technique, which I don't know if anyone else does this. I'm assuming that I'm not the only one, but in case you don't know, I'm kicking this out to everybody. So in my membership, Printables That Pop, I actually help people create. I do templates, tutorials, custom GPTs. I create prompts to help people create really cool products that are going to sell on Teachers Pay Teacher and Etsy. Now, when I do that, if you're in my membership, I have tried probably the prompts or to create the actual product, whatever I'm doing. For example, here's the Launchpad where I keep all of the different links into my membership. And if you're in my membership, you simply look, say maybe in the education file, education tab, or maybe the home and life tab, or what have you. You look and see what is there and available. And then say, for example, maybe you want to go ahead and do a paper doll set. You are looking at some stuff. You want to do a paper doll set. Maybe you want to go ahead and do a trivia game. Whatever. Maybe you want to go ahead and do a virtual field trip, whatever the case may be. Best believe I have tried different iterations of different tools to get the best final result for the final product. So that being said, there is no perfect tool. There is not one. I get the whole question about what tools are you using? What's the best thing? What should I go with? And the thing is, I go through a lot of them, right? But that's just me. It doesn't have to necessarily be you in any way, shape, or form. What I recommend that you do, especially if you're not in my membership. Now, if you're in my membership, this becomes a lot easier for you because I keep the same core tools whenever possible within my actual rotation. That way, the people that are in my membership aren't like, okay, I gotta grab this and grab that and grab that. However, if you're on your own and you're doing this, I think some of the same rules apply. Because you have to look to see what's going to give you the best output for whatever particular project that you're trying to make. So you plan out your plan. So you begin with the end in mind. I want to make a virtual escape room. I want to make a set of paper dolls. I want to make a scavenger hunt, whatever the case may be. And then you pull the tools based off of what's going to give you the best result for that particular product. So a carpenter does not pick up a hammer and say, okay, let me get this hammer, let me grab the screwdriver, what am I going to make? What am I going to make? No. You know where you're going to go, hopefully, and then you pull the tools that work the best for it. Now, this is how you you save money. Now, this is how you save the money. You pick your focus for the month, okay? Dagnabbit typo. Dagnabbit. See, you know what? This is something I would not give to my fifth graders because I thought I had checked this and I did not check that. Whatever, I'm going to keep rolling. Okay, so you pick a type of product. Maybe it's not just one type of project. Maybe it's one or two projects or three projects for the month that you can go ahead and create variations of the same thing. I'm going to give you some examples. So maybe you're doing greeting cards. Maybe you're doing flyers, whatever. But you go ahead and you choose the tools. So certain things I keep on lock, certain tools I never get rid of because I use them so much. Other tools are more so they're in my rotation in terms of what I might pull them for, but I don't always keep a subscription for them, right? So if you're doing something like this, you know what you're going to make. And if you're in my membership, maybe you want to do a color by number. You saw how I did it. You saw the tool that I used. You go ahead and you subscribe for that tool. You do a subscription. But then, I'm sorry, I'm going over here. That's the background of my courses. But then once you've done that, and you've done all variations of it, right? So let's just say you're doing color by number. You do a color by number for multiplication for Valentine's Day. You do it for, Martin Luther King's birthday. You do it for St. Patrick's Day, Lunar New Year. You do all the color by numbers, right? Because at that point, you're making all these individual variations. You're getting into the flow, into the rhythm of creating it because you've been doing it so much. And you can make bundles with stuff like that. You can go ahead and list all the individual products on their own. I'm just giving a Teachers Pay Teacher example, but the same rule applies for Etsy. You put all those little bundles over there, all those little individual products. Then you can bundle them all up together, like a bundle of the three, a bundle of the three, a bundle of 3, or a big bundle of 9. Put all that stuff on your Teachers Pay Teacher shop, and then you've expanded your reach, right? So you do that all within the same month. You plan with the end in mind, keeping in mind holidays, things coming down the pipeline, etc. You sign up, you pay for the subscription just based off of what you need. You spend the next few weeks, making your products. And you get your money's worth. You don't let it sit. You come with the actual mindset. I'm going to go ahead and work this mess. I'm going to do all these daggone color by number or wedding invitations or whatever you're going to make within that span of time. And then after that, you cancel. you cancel it, right? You cancel it because you don't need it. You can always sign back up again later. Why are you going to go ahead and keep 4, 5, 6 subscriptions going? Or on the flip side, get so paralyzed by indecision, what should I use? What should I use? That you don't do anything, right? So you cancel. You plan for what you're going to make ahead of time. You get your tools, you get your subscription set, you batch stuff out, you make lots of variations, and then you cancel that bad boy. Trust me, they are not going to come up to you being like, you can't sign up with us again. They're going to take your money again. They will take your money again. But if you don't need it, why keep the subscription? The only exception might be, for example, like, I got to think about my membership. If you were like a founding member, you have a certain locked in price, but you leave, you lose that founding membership price, then like just be prepared to go ahead and pay more when you come back. That's the only thing I would kind of think of that might kind of give you pause with this. But for the most part, you cancel those subscriptions and you come back when you're ready to use a product or make a product that requires that particular tool. See, it's not about the tools. It's literally about the project that you're going to be using to create the tool, because there's no one best tool. Wish there was. Oh, what a charmed life we would all live if one thing was killing it across the board. And as good as Nano Banana is, Gemini.google.com, and there's no hate there, there are certain styles and techniques that it does not render well on Nano Banana. It does not, which is why I still keep ChatGPT on lock. So, certain things I just don't get rid of. And maybe that'll be you too at some point, just free advice. So, tools to keep that I would say, well, I've told my members this, but like depending on what you're doing, it might be a little bit different. ChatGPT and Meta.ai. Now, I did this whole thing in my group, but basically Meta.ai is like the free version of Midjourney. It doesn't have all the functionality, but it does a lot. You can do SREFs, codes like that. You could do beautiful watercolor, because I don't care what anyone says, the best watercolor pictures, clip art, still comes from Midjourney. Nothing can touch Midjourney with that. But Midjourney is not the best with certain other images, which is why, you don't necessarily need to keep Midjourney on lock. Go with the free version. I make it my business to find free versions that will go ahead and render the final output to look really, really good for my members. And if you happen to be in my group, but you're not in my membership, you're still like in my sphere of influence. You get the information, you do what you need to do, and you make the money that you got to make. ChatGPT, I recommend that my members keep, just because I have a whole bunch of custom GPTs that I create for them that helps them kind of like speeds up their product creation. And I probably would have started creating that like them in Google Gems initially, but I haven't. And they don't always talk, like the instructions that I made in in the custom GPTs and ChatGPT don't always talk well. So until I can find a way to make them talk well, I got to keep my custom GPTs where they are. And so I say to my members, if you can, and of course everyone makes their own choices, keep the ChatGPT only because if you're using my custom GPTs and you're working this particular strategy in this way, where you're batch creating a whole bunch of stuff, variations of the same sort of product, then it's gonna, like, you don't want to run out of generations. That's all. But I do have members who just use the free version of ChatGPT and like they're good to go as well. Okay, so whatever your stack happens to be, just remember, you find your 1 or 2 core tools, and the rest, my friend, put them in rotation. Gemini, Galaxy, Midjourney, like whatever. Maybe this is a different kind of rotation for yourself based off of what you create. If you're doing POD, if you're doing Kittle, Leonardo.ai, I don't care what the tool is. Like, some of them you don't need all the time. You have to figure out what your best use case is, which is why I say subscription hustle. You got to hustle your way and be mindful of how you're spending your money. You don't have to pay for all the tools. You get your 1 or 2 core tools and you rotate the other ones in. You want to go ahead and do some beautiful watercolor clip art, coming up around, the holidays to get ready for Q4. You either be getting that Meta.ai or you're getting that Midjourney. Have Meta.ai on lock. And then if you need to do something more specific to certain tools that only Midjourney has, because Meta.ai does not have everything, got to think about those different variables, those caveats. You go ahead and you do that. But you may not need them every month, and that is okay. You can cancel them. In some of your cases, I know some people were just like, by the time I got to this section, why ChatGPT? This should be Gemini. I love Gemini too. I do. I'm just saying this for my students that in my membership, it makes a lot more sense in their case. But once again, everyone makes their own choices, and people work what they can work as best they can. So you rotate the rest out. So here are the main takeaways. There is no perfect tool. You use what works best for your project. What that is, if you're in my membership, I can help you out with that. If not, it's going to take some trial and error. You can figure it out. Plan ahead. Know what you are making before you buy. And then you batch up the work. So you make lots of the same items, variations of those same items all at once. Okay? Please do that. And get your money's worth. Like, don't do it like, get the membership or the subscription, then don't do anything with it. Like, that's a waste of money. But once you're done with that, dag nabbit, you hit that cancel button and you hit, all right, if you got ADHD, you got a lot going on. Like, I'm a very busy person myself, like between my memberships and my YouTube channels and everything else. Please be mindful about, like, set yourself alarms, several alarms, lots of alarms, so that like the actual renewal on the subscription doesn't catch you by surprise and have you pay more money out your pocket. Okay, so set several reminders on your watch, on your phone, in your calendar, whatever, to remind you to cancel at a certain point in time. And then when you need to use the tool again, you just go back and use the tool again. No big deal. So that is pretty much it, okay? No perfect tool. Plan yourself ahead. You batch out your work and you cancel often. And if you find that you want to go ahead and keep all of the tools, then sure, keep all the tools if you want to. But if you like me and you're like, you know what, I'm trying to go ahead and save this extra money over here, then you get your hustle on. You do your subscription hustle, and you save that money, and you master your tech tools. Because the thing is, if you're using the same tool over and over again, as you batch out a good set of products to then list on your store, you by default are going to master those tools because you're not hopping around from tool to tool to tool. Now I do, because I don't have a choice, because I'm testing for everyone else who is like in my membership, and for my own self, like I'm testing. But if you're someone who's like a regular user, you don't have to have all that stuff. It's not necessary. You simply look and see what makes the most sense for you based off of the project that you're doing. And you kind of go from there. All right, that's it for me. I hope that was helpful. You will save money, I promise, if you do this, and you will save time, and you will also learn some tools very, very well by default. All right, that's it for me. If you're loving the learning, if you're picking up what I'm throwing down, please go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the other kind of good stuff. And if you want to go ahead and get a little taste of my membership and see how I teach specifically with tutorials on how to create something, there are some really cool freebies down below. A gamma graph lab is one of the best. You'll love it. Enjoy. All right, that's it for me. Let me go ahead and I think I hear my daughter. So take care, everyone. Bye.